It is Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. We will start off with a tip of the cap to a retirement announcement. Charlie Blackmon calling it a career after 14 seasons, all with the Colorado Rockies. Really good player, fun dude, good athlete, interesting fielder, very good hitter, great beard look. It's interesting. We were talking to Kelsey last week when we saw her up at Blitzball, and she goes, it'd be really interesting to find out whether or not Charlie Blackmon's going to come back for another year. And now we have our answer, Plouffe.
We do, and it's, obviously shout out to a great career by Charlie, but my takeaway on this is, man, like all these guys that I played against are now retiring. It just kind of makes me feel old. But no, he was a force at the plate, kind of like became the Rockies' identity for quite some time there. And to endear yourself to a fan base the way that he did, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, he was a good guy in the community doing all what he needs to do and also performing on the field. So shout out, man. He had a great career. I don't know what he's going to do now. It looks like he's going to go like hiking or something.
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Outdoors.
Yeah. I mean, the looks of Charlie, but most people don't even remember him without a beard. And I mean,
a great nickname, by the way, Chuck Nasty.
Look at that. Look at that without the beard.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see him without the beard because you just have so little recollection of it. When's your birthday? What are you, June 17th or something?
15th.
15th. Okay.
Middle.
You are, and you turned to 38 this year, didn't you?
I did.
You are 2 weeks older than him.
It's crazy, man. Like sometimes I feel like I could still get out there and strap it up, but the amount of work it takes, that's what really gets me. He's when you play for as long as he did, you deserve more than a tip of a cap.
All right. Well, let's move on. Philadelphia Phillies. They are going to be working, they hope, well deep into October. They did something they hadn't done in quite a while on Monday.
The 2-2, swing and a fly ball, right center field. Castellanos going back on the edge of the track, makes the catch. The ball game is over. For the first time in 13 years, the Phillies will celebrate as National League East champions.
Remember in spring training, the man said he wants his trophy. We're going to get it for him.
Yeah. The last two voices you heard, by the way, Rob Thompson, the manager, John Middleton, the dude behind the Bucks there in Philadelphia, saying, I want my fucking trophy back. I like that, actually.
You know how much I love John Middleton.
Yes.
So, yes, to hear him say that just kind of gets me fired up. And that's, say it once, say it again, man. That's a great clubhouse there. They have a great camaraderie. And it seems like, I mean, they are focused at the right time right now. So I'm excited for them. I'm happy they got to spray some champagne all over each other. That's so much fun, Chris.
Yeah, it must be. It's interesting because there's a bunch of guys that obviously are on that team now that were there in 2022 when they made it all the way to Game 6 of the World Series. And they were asking them, listen, you've been to the final series, but you haven't won the division together as a group. And a lot of them were saying, yeah, I mean, that is the goal. You want to win your division. You want to put that banner up and say you were the champions of a really, really tough competitive division and then take it from there in the playoff run. So I thought that was really interesting with all that. The question I've got is a World Series championship. Would that be more important to the city of Philadelphia or Bryce Harper?
I don't love these questions because it's very hard to answer these questions, but I am going to give a definitive answer. I think it's Bryce Harper, and I feel like I'm going back on my words a little bit because I said I don't think Aaron Judge needs to win a World Series to be a Yankee legend. I think most people agreed with that take, except they said, hey, there's tiers to Yankee legends, and if you don't win a World Series, you can't be on the top tier. The reason I say it for Bryce, there's still got to be that feeling in him. You leave one team and then they win the World Series without you. It is like, breaking up with an ex and then she goes on and she's marries or is with someone way better than you. It makes you feel insignificant a little bit. It makes you question a lot of things. So, obviously Bryce got the big contract, goes to Philadelphia. He's loving every minute of his life there. It seems like a perfect marriage. Bryce Harper, Philadelphia Phillies. When he went there, I didn't think that was really a chance. I just had, had the Yankees on my mind. I had all these things on my mind. Philly wasn't really there, but when he signed, or after he signed and he's been there, it seems perfect for him. But I just think, seeing the Nationals win the World Series in 2019 still has to sting for him. And I think if he goes and wins one, which I believe he will with the Phillies, that sting will go away.
Yeah, it's also, we've talked on this show how Harper has not only lived up to all expectations since he first got on our radar as a teenager, but he, in some cases, surpassed them. I mean, he just has done a wonderful job being the face of a league, being an outstanding player, a two-time league MVP, et cetera, et cetera. And so we can compare him in that sense to Tiger Woods and to LeBron James, guys who have been part of the sports lexicon in some cases before they could even drive. The difference between Tiger, LeBron, and then Harper is LeBron's got 4 championships. Tiger Woods has 15 majors. And Bryce Harper, in the toughest sport, in my opinion, out of those 3, because he has so little control over it, has been to one World Series and hasn't won it yet. So I do think that the discussion would change around him. I don't know if it's entirely fair. I personally wouldn't see him different, but I understand how the sports world would. And so that's why I agree with you that I think when Philly won it in 2008, that's almost 17 years ago. It's been a while, but at least they've won one since 1980, which was the previous.
And when you talk about like Philadelphia fans, that it's not just the Phillies. I mean, they are diehard for all of their teams. So they have all these other chances to win championships. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously important to both of them, but I just, I agree. It's Bryce Harper for me.
All right, let's move on to the rest of the National League East that is still playing for something. National League wild card, the Mets are currently the 5 seed. That's because the Diamondbacks lost at home to the San Francisco Giants. So Arizona's sitting at the 6th seed. Atlanta is 1.5 out of the playoffs and 2 behind the Mets. So it's the Mets at the Braves for the next 3. Big questions, obviously, about the availability of Francisco Lindor, that bad back. He has missed the last 7 games. Here is Lindor from the other day.
For this year, I don't think I'm going to play pain-free. If I play this year, I don't think it's going to be pain-free. I'm okay with that. I just don't want it to be a constant pain where I can't bend over, and then I put my teammates in a position where I'm not helping them as much as I can. That's not fair for anybody.
Obviously, when we tape this show on Tuesday morning, we don't know what the lineups are going to look like later in the day. I hope he's out there. I just, I don't know. I can tell you from a guy with a bad back, I'm sure they've shot him up with just about everything to make him be as ready as he can be. But that last line where I don't want to put my team at risk, that's a big deal, Plouffe.
Yeah, there's a difference between playing through pain and being able to perform and then having pain where you can't perform. And that's kind of what he's saying there. You don't want to get out there, try to be the hero and play through something. Then all of a sudden, a routine grounder or moving a certain way, you just can't, your range is affected. And all of a sudden, ground ball gets by you, stuff like that. I think people understand that. And that's kind of like that line you have to figure out where it is. Can I play? And if I can play, what percentage am I at?
Yeah, and so besides Lindor's health, what is the biggest question surrounding each of these teams over the next 48 to 72 hours? Let's each start with the Mets. You can go first.
I'm going to combine mine because I think I have an answer that's the same for both of these teams. I think it's the usage of the back end of the bullpen, specifically the closers. If you look at both of them, they both were tasked for like back-to-back days, multiple innings this last week. And I know they have the off day, but if you just go back further, Raisel Iglesias is on pace to surpass the most innings he's thrown this year in the calendar month in September. Right now, he's sitting at 11.2. The numbers have kind of shot up for him a little bit. Like it's at the end of the season, the bullets are less and less, but they're getting asked to pitch more and more. And the same with Edwin Diaz. He's actually thrown more this month already than he has in any other month. And now we're starting to see these guys go, not just 3 out clean innings. It's come in, put the fire out in the 8th, and then come back out for the 9th. In particular with Edwin, we saw him go for a 6-out save against the Phillies. So, I think that's kind of my question mark for both these teams. What are you going to do if you have the lead in all 3 of these games, are you going to say it's big boy time and toss these guys every single night? Because this is it. This is the season. Essentially, this series is either going to get you into the playoffs or take you out of the playoffs. So there is that. You have to find, again, almost like with Lindor, you have to find like where the line is between, putting guys in there and being productive. So I'm very curious to see how they manage the back end of the bullpens in these games.
All right, for me, I'll start with the Mets. They are facing the starting law firm of Schwellenbach, Sale, and Fried. Each of those guys had a single start against the New York Mets this year. All of them went 7 dominant innings. I'm not talking about just 7 good innings. 7 dominant innings. They combined for 21 1/3. They gave up 4 total hits. 4 between the 3 of them. Max Fried didn't give up a single knock. They only gave up 2 runs. So my question for the Mets is, you can be able to figure out any of those dudes? Like, that's some serious stuff where they're going deep into games and you're not even sniffing at them against them. So I'm curious to see how the Mets attack them, and that begins tonight against the youngster Schwellenbach. For Atlanta, it has been an awfully long time since they were in danger of missing the playoffs. I'm just talking about being in danger. Now, they have won every division title since 2018, many of those years by a comfortable margin where it doesn't come down to the last 4 or 5 games, and so they're feeling good. And even if it did, like 2 years ago against the Mets when they both had 100, remember they had those, both of them had 100 wins, and they had that huge series in Atlanta, and the Braves ended up sweeping it. Well, even if the Braves had lost, they still would have been a wild card. No problem. Okay, we'll deal with it then. But here, they're in danger of missing the playoffs altogether.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of Atlanta fans will say, well, Chris, it doesn't matter because once you get to the playoffs, you're still feeling that pressure and your season can end at any time. I understand that. But I think this is a team that they're not going to have wholesale changes if they miss the playoffs. But I think there's going to be some if they aren't able to answer the bell this final week.
Yeah, I mean, this is fight for your life, time for the Braves, and they really haven't been tasked with that in the regular season, like you said, in quite some time. I think that might bode well for them.
I think so too.
Being honest, yeah, like that sense of urgency can really propel you. You don't really need the juice because you understand what's at stake. This time of the season, you're tired, your body's a little bit banged up. I think playing for something at this point just gets those, what is that? Adrenaline and endorphins. All these things are coming out of you, and that helps you, Chris. Natural.
So let's play this game.
Okay.
One, both, or neither make the playoffs.
Shoot, man. Didn't Arizona lose last night?
Well, okay, it can't be neither because there's 4 teams.
Yeah, it can't be neither
in the wild card.
Both or one is basically what
both or one.
It's going to be hard for Atlanta to make it if they don't.
Not necessarily. Remember, I told you
the Diamondbacks have been playing bad.
And not really. I mean, they had won 4 in a row. Now they've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, so but it's overall, not like this month, it's not been great for them.
And after they play the Giants, they got to go against Logan Webb tonight. After a 3-game series against the Giants, they take on the Padres.
I'm looking.
Atlanta takes on Kansas City.
Atlanta's 1.5 back from Arizona.
And remember, all they have to do is tie because I believe Atlanta's got the tie break there.
I want it to be one team. I don't want it to be both teams. So I'm going to say one team. I want this series to really kind of decide that.
And pick the team.
I said the Mets were going to be the last team out. People I'm sure are going to hate that, but I don't know. I have the feeling, man. I have this feeling.
Go Metsies.
Okay.
I helped inspire them on May 29th.
You want them to miss the playoffs?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't. I like the Mets.
I do too. I would love to see them in the playoffs. I really, really would.
Yeah. I mean, I picked the Braves to win it all at the beginning of the year. I don't think that'll happen even if they get in. And I definitely don't think they're going to play the Toronto Blue Jays like I predicted.
They're not, Chris. I believe the Toronto Blue Jays are already eliminated.
Well, let me check. Producer Dan, can you check and can you confirm if the Blue Jays are out of the playoff? They are. Are we sure?
Yes.
We're 100% sure, right?
100% sure.
100%? I just really
Skull
want
and
to make
Crossbones
sure.
on Baseball Reference.
I need to make sure. This episode of Baseball Today is brought to you by Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Booking.com, booking.yeah. And with the postseason nearly upon us, it is time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yeah, we're talking about your baseball rival cities with hotels and bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more available on Booking.com. You might just find the perfect stay for this postseason run. Yes, even your baseball rival cities. I can tell you, as a person who has gone and covered postseason series, going and watch my own team play, there's nothing like it. The playoffs, it's a different animal. The air is just different. Then when you go on the road, like I did in 2016 and saw the Guardians playing the first World Series game at Wrigley Field since 1945, I was like, this is incredible. You totally want to soak in the atmosphere. And then if your team is fortunate enough to win, and the Guardians, then Indians, won 2 of the 3 games on the road, you walk out there, your chest is full. You're like, yeah, we are some badasses. So it just feels great. All I can tell you is, from hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts to cute bed and breakfast stays, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, yes, even your baseball rivals. So book today on Booking.com. Download the Booking.com app today. All right, another huge series gets started out west in the National League. Padres in L.A. San Diego starts the evening 3 back of the Dodgers in the division. LA, of course, has the inside track to a division title and a bye as well. But is San Diego built for a better playoff run?
This is another difficult question. You're hurting me right now, Chris.
I'm challenging you, Trevor.
You are your challenge man. I like that. I like to be challenged. You know that. First, my first thought when I saw this question was, no, I think LA still has it, but it's by a very small margin. But then I started to kind of dig into the rosters, and I think you can kind of separate. Let's go lineup. I think LA's numbers are better overall, but honestly, if I had to pick a lineup, gosh, it's so hard to pick against those top 3 guys in LA's lineup. But I think if I had to pick a lineup the length, 1 through 9, I think I'm going San Diego. But it's very, very close. You could really go either way there. And then if you go bullpen, it's you think about the moves that San Diego made at the trade deadline. You say, okay, they look really good. But then you look at what LA's bullpen has done. They've been great too. So I think that's kind of a wash. I'm going to go wash there. They both have great bullpens, high leverage guys. Kopech has been great for the Dodgers. So that's a wash. I think it comes down to starting pitching, because I'm thinking not a 3-game set. I'm not thinking a 5-game set. I'm thinking a 7-game set.
Wow.
And I think that the Padres just have more starting pitching. I mean, I know they have more starting pitching that's stretched out, ready to go. So I'll give them the advantage there. In a 3 and a 5-game set, I'm almost a wash there, but a real 7-game set, I think I have to give the advantage to San Diego. So if you're factoring all those things in, Chris, I guess I'm saying the Padres are built for a better run than LA is, but it doesn't necessarily convince me that they're going to go farther, if that makes any sense.
I think I'm right there with you. I mean, the Padres, if you haven't paid attention, they are 40-17 since the All-Star break. That is the best record in baseball. But the Dodgers aren't that far behind. They're 37-22. So, what is that? 3.5, 4 games behind. So it's not ridiculous. The Padres have been going on this ridiculous, insane run since the All-Star break, but they haven't totally left the Dodgers in the rearview mirror. I like LA's star power just a smidge more, although Machado has played great and Tatis seems to have rounded into form. But I can't, what Ohtani and Betts did the other day to win that game is certifiably insane.
I know it's hard to pick against that lineup.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah, and I'll be fascinated to see how Ohtani handles the playoffs over here, because it is a different animal. I'm excited to see him. It's what we've begged for 6 years down the 5 freeway in Anaheim, and it never came to fruition. So I think we're super excited about that. But yes, the San Diego Padres pitching, just look at the 3 series matchups here that we've got. Landon Knack is going for the Dodgers. Good young arm, but I'm not taking him over Michael King this year. Dylan Cease, Jack Flaherty. That'll be a fun one on Wednesday. And then Walker Buehler and Joe Musgrove. Musgrove, since he came off the injured list at the beginning of October, has been one of the best pitchers in the sport. Walker Buehler is starting to get there. I like that, and I'm happy for him because I know it's been a very, very frustrating couple of years. So if I were to say which team I like better in October, I like the way that San Diego, but I would put the Dodgers right behind him.
That's what I'm saying. It's a difficult
But I'm not
question.
so sure, like, where do the Phillies fit in that discussion? If you were to just take those 3.
Oh man, I think they're all so close. I almost
No.
put Philly on top.
Really? You like them better than those
I
2
really
others?
do. I just there's just it's the aura too. I
Mm.
really feel like there's something there, and baseball has that, Chris. There's some magic with baseball. I almost want to take back my decision about the lineups and saying that I like the 1 through 9 better for San Diego because I'm not sure I do.
I know. It's great.
It's very
And
close.
by the way, don't yell and scream at us, "You guys are idiots." Like, you have to take a step back, and even if you're a Padres fan or a Dodgers fan or a Phillies fan, and say it is that close. Like, we are splitting hairs at this point. I do like the Padres a little bit more. I'm just excited for the National League playoffs. I love
Here's
it.
the thing. Here's the thing about the Dodgers. I think Shohei Ohtani is bulletproof.
Mm.
And I don't think and I also think Freddie Freeman is bulletproof. Like, I think those 2 guys are gonna get theirs. It's hard to say that Mookie isn't or Machado isn't or Tatis isn't, but I just think that Shohei and Freddie are, like, going to show up.
Mm.
And there's you could say that maybe the other guys could get overmatched, righty matchups, whatever it is. I think Shohei is just going to be the X factor. I really do. I mean, that's a simple take. It's ridiculous. Obviously, what he's done is incredible this year. But having him to start the game off is it's different, dude.
All right, let's move over to the American League. Mariners, they prevented the Astros from winning the American League West at least for a night, and they also continued to climb up the AL wildcard standing. So as it sits right now, Tigers and Royals share that second wild card. Minnesota is a game back. Seattle is 1.5 out. Red hot Detroit apparently calling up top pitching prospect Jackson Jobe. He's a top 10 prospect in the entire game. He's a starter, but he's going to work out of the pen this last week. How much does that interest you?
It interests me a ton. I love moves like this. We see it from time to time. You see like David Price coming up and doing this for what? That was a long time ago. People were like, when was that?
Yeah,
2008.
2007?
I thought it was 8.
Wait, he got drafted in 07, so yeah, he came up in 08. Yeah.
You just see it from time to time, and for a team like the Tigers who really has relied on a solid bullpen, but using them a lot, I think it's very smart for them to add in. I mean, I guess I don't know if it's a fresh arm because he has gone over the most innings he's thrown in his career this year, but to bring someone in who's going to have that youthful exuberance that he's going to have some adrenaline coursing through his veins. I think it's really important. I went and watched some of his pitch mix. It looks like he commands the hell out of the ball. He's got the stuff too, but he's got command of 4 pitches. I'm curious to see if he changes that when he goes to the bullpen, if he's just going to kind of light the world up, with the 4-seamer and throw that slider that he has. The changeup's really good. He's got a cutter too. Like he's got the mix. He's got the starter mix, which obviously we know. But it does excite me. Like, where is he going to pitch? Is he going to be a bulk guy? Is he going to be an opener? Is he going to be at the back end of games putting fires out? Like, we don't really know yet. But it does definitely pique my interest because he's one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. And watching the video, you can see why. Like, he looks very polished for how young he is.
So a 1.95 ERA over 16 AA starts this year. He got promoted to AAA on September 8th, made a couple of starts there. He was fine. I'm fascinated because I get to see clips, right? Social media clips of guys. I like to watch them in their entirety. So when they walk out of the bullpen, make their debut on a major league mound, the whole bit. I know the Tigers fans have been excited for this kid. They've been excited for certain guys in years past, whether that's Mize or Manning. Those obviously haven't worked out to the degree that a Skubal has. But we'll see if he's kind of the next in line dude. A couple other fascinating things about him. He was drafted in 2021, so he went only behind Henry Davis and Jack Leiter. Other guys in that first round, Colton Cowser, Matt McClain, Trey Sweeney, who's now his teammate in Detroit, Gavin Williams, Jackson Merrill. pretty decent class of guys that are starting to pave their way. The last thing that's interesting is that he is the son of a professional athlete. Brant Jobe, longtime golfer on the PGA Tour, got it as high as like maybe top 30 in the world, 16 wins around the globe. So different sport, individual versus team, but understands kind of what it takes to, to make it as a professional athlete. So that's kind of cool. There is one last thing. I read that he has not been on the 40-man roster all season long, which would make him playoff ineligible. However, I then read a line that said you can make a special appeal to the commissioner's office, the league office, to make it onto a playoff roster.
Yes.
Well, why the hell do we have these rules if you're not going to abide by them? What is the point?
I don't know. They need to get rid of it because there has been exemptions before they've done it. It sounds like it's probably going to happen if the Tigers want it to. If you're in the organization, I don't know why you'd have to be.
Because that's the rule. The whole thing is that you don't.
Yeah, I guess if you want to follow the rules, Chris, I don't follow the rules. All right.
Well, you know what? Maybe you should.
Maybe I should.
Maybe you should. It's a little bit of a problem if you don't.
Yeah, no, I read that as well. I thought that was interesting because it said, yeah, people are not eligible. Then the following sentence was like, but there's exemptions made, and the commissioner's office can make them. It's like, okay.
Yeah, just explain it to us because
what's the rule then? What's the point of that?
Right. I mean, then teams.
Who do you say no to?
What do you mean? Who do you say no to?
I'm just saying, like, if there's exemptions, that means it's not all the time. So, like,
right. Oh yeah. Got it. Why do you deny a request? I got it.
Yeah.
Something else that I'm sure baseball won't explain to its fan base.
Chris, I think the thing I'm most curious, I touched on it a little bit. The thing I'm most curious about is when is he going to throw? Because this is
this is big boy time.
This is the biggest boy time. Besides when you actually get into the playoff, there's no more high leverage situation during the regular season than what they're in right now. So when does he pitch?
It's a great question.
Like is he? I'm just.
I mean, is he coming in with a 1-run lead in the 6th inning? Like,
for his debut, like, there's no way in his debut does he go out there and have to put a fire out. There's no way.
I don't think so.
He's gonna have a clean inning.
Yep.
And it's going to be in a neutral game or maybe a game that they're behind it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with the help from Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. And listeners to this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/baseball. Just go to Indeed.com/baseball right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Indeed.com/baseball. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, Indeed. We are headed to the last topic of today's show. A's begin their final homestand ever in Oakland. The champs will pay a visit. Owner John Fisher released a statement recalling the accolades of the franchise's 57-year stay in the Bay. He, or some publicist, wrote, among other things, quote, "We proposed and pursued 5 different locations in the Bay Area, and despite mutual and ongoing efforts to get a deal done for the Howard Terminal project, we came up short." Fisher added, "I know this is a great disappointment, even bitterness, though I wish I could speak to each one of you individually. I can tell you this from the heart. We tried. Staying in Oakland was our goal. It was our mission, and we failed to achieve it. And for that, I am genuinely sorry." Trevor, is that a nice touch, or should he have not hit send on the letter?
Well, I think he had to send some statement, and I don't think there's anything that he could do now that is going to be well received by anybody up there in Oakland. He's burned that bridge. That's gone. It's not going to happen for them. So, I mean, what's he going to do? There was, I believe he misspelled some things in the letter as well, which is interesting, like names, not just like a random word. If you want to check out how someone that played in Oakland feels and kind of has, a lot of people behind him there on his stance. Go check out what Trevor May and how he responded to that, because he kind of, to quote the kids, he went scorched earth on Mr. Fisher there. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's clearly he didn't want to be in Oakland. I was there. I got caught up into the hoopla of a new stadium being built. I thought they were sincere about it. If you talk to people in the know, it feels like they never really were sincere, and that the plan all along was to move the team out of Oakland. So like I said, he's lost the fans up there. There's no doubt about it. And I don't know. Yeah, he had to send something. But Chris, what could that guy do that would be well received?
He didn't need to send anything. This is where I
don't think so. Just like see you later.
Not. Well, I mean, you're leaving anyway. So
it's like you break up with you break up with someone, then you write him a letter about it.
Yeah, but this has been a breakup where you didn't want to stay in the relationship anyway. Now I'm not going to get on here and play the political game, because I do not know enough about all the hoops that the A's had to try and jump through, and that the city and the county and everything else. So I don't want to play that game. All I can tell you is this: I am the child of a team leaving a city, and it sucks. It is painful. Yes. It destroys the fabric of some families in some cases, because it's the beauty of sports. It unites communities. It creates memories. It creates bonds. And so John Fisher is once again another billionaire without any feel whatsoever. And so he probably doesn't know how much fans are hurting up there, and how much moving just 80 miles away is going to crush the spirit of community. So just let it be. Bro, just get out of town. If that's what you want to do, if you want to go chase the dollars and go get it, not that you ever had to earn any dollars in life anyway, because you're the child of multi-trillionaires anyway, opening up a clothing business. But fine, go do you. That's fine. But don't act like you give a shit at the end of the day, because you do not. You just don't.
He didn't write it.
So that's why I said that some publicist or something like. But you know what he did do? He okayed it to be released.
He might not even have done that. He might have just been like, somebody was like, yeah, that seems fine.
No,
John's fine.
No.
You think he read that thing and was like, yeah.
I think he did. I do think that he did. And I think that he feels like he's doing the right thing, and he's not. You're just, because do you know what they're doing later this week? The team is going to commemorate its time in Oakland with giveaways, including a collectible ticket and a miniature replica of a stadium. From what I was told this week, you get a voucher when you walk in the stadium on that last day to collect this stuff. But you get it in between the 7th and 9th inning, and they're not going to have enough for everybody. So what they want to try and do is get you out of the stadium before the final scene is going to happen in Oakland. So you would get your replica on the way out of the stadium starting in the 7th inning. But you have to hurry and get it, because there's not enough for everybody in the stadium. So what they're trying to do is have as few people as possible in the stadium when the 9th inning is played on Thursday.
Oh, to show like there's nobody here supporting the team.
And to just make it so that it's not about tears in Oakland and how John Fisher is screwing the community and all that sort of stuff.
Is there a big drive to be at that last game? Are they going to sell it out?
That's a great question. I think that people need to kind of let us know in our comments section if you're an A's fan. I do want to do a little more research, and we'll have more obviously on Thursday's show. It's a real bummer. And I read that Mark Kotze wanted to address the crowd, and they said no.
That's insane. That's insane.
That they said for the players' safety and the coaches and everybody that's affiliated with the organization, we don't know how the fans are going to react. They might run on the field, try and take the grass, try and take the dirt, might try and shake your hand. So get out of there. That's why Mark Kotze is not allowed to address the fans. So what they're doing is it's a big scare tactic. We've seen this a lot in politics over the years. It's a big scare tactic, and it's just being poorly run.
You don't know how people are going to react. Is there different types of people in Oakland that are going to just love the grass and dirt? Like, what are we talking about?
Dude, I don't know. Dan Rourke, our fine producer, told us that the game is sold out.
Stay the whole time. Who cares about the ticket? And that no one cares about that. No. Stay, cheer, and don't leave the stadium. Just stay there. Enjoy it.
And don't go on the field. Don't
go on
the field. Let the players come out, wave goodbye, appreciate the moment. It sucks what you're going through, but don't prove John Fisher's point.
Agreed.
Don't do that. And John
Just
Fisher
keep cheering in the stadium.
John Fisher, don't hit send next time because it's not genuine what you wrote or somebody else wrote. Before we get out of here, Trevor Plouffe does have a word for us.
I do. I'm so ready for this too. Look, it is Tuesday, which means you can join our DraftKings DFS League. Our John Boy Media DFS League rolls on this week and all season long on the DraftKings Sportsbook. You can make your lineup and compete against JM creators each Tuesday night of the baseball season for a shot at cash prizes. I'm talking Joe's, I'm talking Jake, I'm talking Jolly, I'm talking Shelfie. A bunch of people are doing it. And you can win some additional prizes from John Boy Media. The top finisher each month will win $100 in SeatGeek credit from John Boy Media. And the top leaderboard finisher at the end of the regular season will win 2 World Series tickets to go see my Twins beat whoever they're playing. I think Jake he likes to talk a lot of smack about being the best ball knower at our company. Go take him down so you can win those tickets. If you want to get in on the action, it's not too late to sign up for tonight's contest. Click the link in the description to join the league and then enter the contest on the league homepage. Join the DraftKings DFS League, please, and play against our creators.
That'll do it for this show. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Wednesday, the final Wednesday of the regular season here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Booking.com.